Stream us on your cell, laptop, desktop, or tablet at KFMA.com. You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live from Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide on KFMA.com on this beautiful Tuesday, March 5th. Good morning, Rico.
Good morning.
And happy birthday, Rico.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it's big, big Rico's. It's Rico's big birthday today on the show. And to celebrate that, we have so much going on. First off, Rico brought in 10 pounds of cake to make everybody fat. That's good. That's a good start. We're going to have tons of tickets to give away. So this is what we do when we celebrate birthdays, right? We don't gift each other, gifts. That's a chick thing to do. As bros, we give gifts to you. And today we're going to have 3 different big ticket items to give away. 2 pairs of tickets for a show that I announced yesterday, and that's Hailstorm and I Prevail. Right. So that's the first big ticket item that we're giving away today. Before those tickets go on sale, we announced that show yesterday, Arizona Financial Theater. You know the deal. All right. We posted it on our social media as well. And then we're also giving away tickets for KG Elephant. All right. So all that is basically Rico's birthday bonus we are giving away to you.
Absolutely. But if you want to gift them back, I won't complain.
Okay. That's fair. That is fair. Also, on top of gifting you those tickets, we're giving you 2 opportunities to win $2,000, courtesy of the Rock 102.1 Cash Pal at 6:30 and 7:30. We're going to give you keywords to text in there. That's another thing that Rico qualified to win. Okay, so
you can have my tax return.
There you go.
Congrats.
And then on top of that, if that wasn't giving enough, in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to have Tony from Catalina Craft Pizza to do another round of tap outs, gift away up to $100 in gift certificates to their fine establishment.
Wow.
So, yeah, all those gifts are things that Rico is not going to get, but you're going to get for listening. So, happy birthday, Rico.
Happy birthday, too, son.
Yeah. I was going to give you, a birthday gift this morning. And I was thinking, what would be the best thing to give my bro? I'm like, what about rollerblades?
Yeah.
Yeah, rollerblades.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, if you're thinking to yourself, like, wait, it's like rollerblades. This ain't 1994. What are you trying to do? Bring them back? Well, apparently they're coming back in a major way. And there's a breaking story that happened yesterday in Washington that is blowing my mind. And so here's what happened. There was a man who received a pair of rollerblades in the mail. And then Homeland officials, the Department of Homeland Security, then raided his home. And you're like, what? For rollerblades? That's insane.
Being rad's illegal.
Yeah, where do you get those rollerblades? From Temu? Is that against the law now? And it wasn't from Temu. It was actually from Colombia. All right. And I'm going to show you a picture on the podcast broadcast when you see these rollerblades. They're super impressive, right, Rico?
Yeah, they look pretty rad.
Yeah, they look completely legit. Is there anything off about these rollerblades whatsoever?
They will definitely not get me laid.
Okay, well,
they look normal, like normal rollerblades.
You couldn't be more wrong, actually. Yes, because if you look very closely at these rollerblades, you can't tell with the naked eye, but those wheels, those 4 wheels connected to the bottom, they are made and infused with cocaine. Straight Colombia cocaina, like straight up. This is the world that we're living in today.
When you told me, you're like, look at these rollers. Do you see anything off? And I go, no. You're like, there's cocaine. I'm like, okay, are they in the wheels? You go, no, bro. They are the wheels.
They are the wheels, right? This reminds me of Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, right? Where they were driving the van that was essentially made out of marijuana. So there wasn't marijuana inside the van. It was the panels. It was the wheels. Everything was marijuana in Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. Now that was a fantasy when that movie was released in the late 70s. Now in 2024, cocaine infused plastics is a reality. We are now in the future. And if you're asking yourself, how does this even work? Well, put it simply, the wheels are infused with a gelatin-like substance that tested positive for the presence of cocaine. So essentially, they could break down this plastic get the gelatin-like substance, it's cocaine, and then turn that into pure cocaine. Right. And from there, it's off to the races. Authorities found also on top of that $35,000 worth of traditional coke, as you call it. Not this new coke. They'll never take off. And then money transfer for more than $30,000 from Kenosha to Bogota, Colombia. So,
these are wild times we live in.
I'm telling you, man.
So if you see like a chicken store, like a little shop with a guy that owns a chicken joint, like Breaking Bad.
Yes.
And you see him with like a truck full of rollerblades. Yeah, be a little suspicious.
Yeah. Any pop-up rollerblade stand in Tucson, you know what that's code for. Legitimately. It's so insane. And, first off, in the year 2024, everyone knows you shouldn't do cocaine, right? Even though The Rock literally just put Arizona on blast, with Phoenix being the number one place in the entire country for cocaine and meth use. That's a fact.
What?
That The Rock literally just said on SmackDown on Friday night.
The Rock?
The Rock.
Whoa.
Yeah, you didn't hear that, did you?
No.
Okay, well, I got...
Mod Rock?
Yeah, here, actually, I got the audio right here just to show you. I mean, he really broke it down. And, of course... with that, Phoenix, the crowd in Glendale all cheered.
Do you smell what I am cooking?
Oh wait, nope, that's a different thing. It's funny because we literally talked about that was a bit that we made. Yeah, and
he really has it out for us, doesn't he?
Kinda. Let's see. This should be it.
All right, it was WrestleMania.
Nope. Okay, never mind. I don't have it pulled up.
We'll get it later.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, The Rock said that, and back to my point. The concern now amongst cokeheads, unfortunately, last year it was to come across cocaine that was like infused with like a fentanyl, and that's deadly, right? And in fact, actually, there's been many national stories of people who have accidentally OD'd. Ready? All right, we interrupt this live stream here to introduce our next guest, as we're going to be talking with him on the podcast broadcast. He's performing at the Rialto Theatre on a Thursday. That is March 28th, and there's still some few tickets available. We got the one, the only Drew Lynch, everybody. Good morning, Drew. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning. I love coming into a stream. I love coming into a stream where the first thing I hear is, and the big concern with cokeheads is... I was like, I might not be in the right place, but I'm gonna still do this.
Check the invites real quick.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not a cocaine themed show today. We did.
Well, then I'm definitely in the wrong place.
Never mind.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk with Drew. I got to play music from Cracker, but we're keeping the conversation on the podcast broadcast. We're live right now, youtube.com/beefvegan, and more with Drew Lynch right after Cracker's Low and Rock 1 2.1. So don't go away. Clear. All right.
Crackers and cocaine. What a start.
So I'm thinking crackers and cocaine. I'll catch you up real quick, Drew. First off, thank you for joining us. So we're doing a podcast broadcast. So we go back and forth live on the FM side on 102.1. And of course, we're live streaming right now. And then the cocaine, the reason why cocaine was even brought up was this crazy story about a man who got busted with rollerblades, and in his wheels, there was cocaine, but it wasn't like cocaine stuffed in the rollerblades. It was infused in the rollerblades, right? Like
the actual blade.
Yeah. So it's plastic. It's basically, you remember like Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke?
Yeah.
That movie, you know how they made like a van entirely out of weed? That's where we're at with cocaine now. So it's a cocaine gelatin that was in the wheels of the rollerblades that they discovered. So what they're doing now, I guess, is taking these like rollerblade wheels and, breaking them apart, taking the gelatin and making pure cocaine out of it.
That's insane. I guess is it for transport? Like this is on the smallest scale of input output. I don't understand why they're doing this.
Well, it's being shipped in directly from Colombia.
As rollerblades.
Okay, my bad. All right.
Rollerblades.
That's why. Okay. I guess in my head somewhere I was thinking like, no, he's on the rollerblades. That's where my head was.
Nobody else.
And I was just like, I was like, that's how he's getting it across the border. They're like, yeah, no, this guy's just rollerblading. Let him go.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, we don't even need the dog to smell him. He's just a
He's just having
rollerblader.
fun.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
chilling.
He
Yeah.
doesn't need a
Okay. Yeah.
girlfriend. He's fine.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, you never said that. You never said that he was on rollerblades. I guess in my mind I was just like, oh, he's on rollerblades.
That's way
Anyway.
funnier.
I mean,
I like
that's.
that.
I think that's slang in 2024. When somebody's on cocaine, you just tell them
You're on
just say, hey,
rollerblades.
you're on
You're
rollerblades,
rollerblades, man.
You're obviously
Are
rollerblading
you-
your balls off.
Are you blading right now, dude? You're blading.
He's swerving on those blades, man.
Yeah. Speaking of which, where are you at right now? You at home?
No, I'm in Boston right now. We just did shows here, so I travel out today.
Oh, nice. Okay. And yeah, so this tour, which you're making a stop in Tucson for, how long is this current run that you're going to be on?
I usually do shows this like winter and springtime, and then I take off for the summertime, and then I come back usually with new material for the fall and winter tour. So
Nice. Where's your home base?
I live in LA, and but you know I have family in the Midwest, and I grew up in Vegas, and so I know people pretty much like all over the country. So it depends sometimes if I want to extend the stay or come early for a place whenever I'm doing a gig.
Yeah. So where do you then, if you're like in LA, do you do stage time in like Comedy Store? Where do you work out new material?
Yeah, usually the Comedy Store and the Factory, and then the Improv is always really good to me too. Those are the main three, and those are pretty much my home clubs there.
Nice. Well, how much like open mic time, so to speak, would you have to do before you put together a like new hour before you take it on the road?
That's a great question. I think it really varies for everybody, but it also varies from bit to bit. Like sometimes you'll end up trying something and it's just like you're so lucky to have it just kind of like go it's just, I've tried stuff that it has it's kind of like it has its legs the first time you run it, and you're just like, oh man, I just got to fill in some details, and I'll keep working on it. But there's other times where you're really headstrong about an idea, and it's just not translating, or you don't quite have the beats down. So I think that skill set gets sharper the more you do it. But I don't know, man. I write like a mad person when I'm in like my summer time off. So it can take, it can vary.
Yeah, we're talking with comedian Drew Lynch live on Rock 102.1 KFMA. It's a podcast broadcast, talking about how much time you kind of put in to material when you're not on the road before you debut the road. And I thought it was also interesting. You talk about the beat, like the rhythm of a joke, right? Which I don't think a lot of fans of comedy or comedians realize that there is. It's essentially like writing a song. There is a rhythm to the perfect joke. And you kind of have rhythm in your own right. Actually, you just posted something on TikTok that I want to start off with sharing before we start catching up. That in a way, it's like you have bars. It was like a poetry slam, or you were just like acoustic rapping. Talking about your wife's ADD. And again, this was just posted. I just want to share this with our audience real quick. I think it's funny as well. So check this out.
One of the things I really love about living with my wife is seeing how long it takes her to leave the house after she has declared that she is leaving the house. I love it because her mouth announces a profound amount of I'm heading out, but her body still occupies a lobby of lies and mockery.
Bars.
And the boy would be a yay if I could actually celebrate her leaving it, but she proceeds to visit every room in the hizzy like some kind of doom Roomba, sucking the life out of my day.
Bars.
And so on her way out, she gets a drink because she's thirsty, does the dishes since they're dirty, checks the curtains that are crooked, isn't certain with her makeup, but decides that it's too late now, so she beelines for the exit, but her bladder's full of liquid from the bevy from the kitchen.
Bars.
To have traveled farther than she ever will. And so I smile while she heads to the bathroom, but I don't wave because I know my hand will get fried if I try to goodbye the random meander panda who can't seem to handle a day without understanding she doesn't have an ankle monitor on.
What you got, B-Rabbit?
Good morning.
Killing
I do want to
dude.
put that over the Eminem on the 8 Mile clip.
Yeah, dude, when you do something like that, is this I'm assuming that it's not off the top of the head, something that you wrote. Do you write it where it's almost like you hear a song or rhythm in your head and you're writing like a song?
Yeah, so I end up so um I've battled with stuttering for a lot of my adult life, and
Mhm.
what my speech therapist, I don't go as often as I used to, um but my speech therapist was like, you've been doing really good, you've been doing really good with a lot of these exercises. A good sort of practice is getting something into the rhythm of a song, or getting something into the rhythm of like poetry. And I was just
Mhm.
like, I was like, yeah, I don't do that. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I mean, I do stand up. If I see a poet in the street, I'm gonna kick his ass. So I don't know what to tell you. Uh, but, um, but to be honest, like, every comic is, or, every person is trying to find their own little way to, um, be creative online, or find whatever they want to do to still like uh produce content. And I thought, there's so much about the format of just kind of like walking around and ranting about like a subject. And yeah, a lot of this stuff I write, I write it beforehand. um but it's a way to like kind of get not really get rid of material or burn material, but also still write something. And it's still comedic in nature, but it's a different part of the brain. It helps me with some it helps me with speech, and trying to rehabilitate that side of my brain. So yeah, it's just like those I just started doing, and I think people have responded to them in a in a positive way. So uh we just we just kind of keep doing those, because they're endless. Like, there's so much material that you can get from them. And there's a lot of things that people don't know, that like somebody like Ed Sheeran, he was somebody who he had a stutter, and he ended up rapping in order to, he would listen to like Slim Shady in order to combat that. So there's just there's just nothing but positives that can come around from something like that. And I love the idea of just like doing a whole thing, and then you're walking, and then at the end you just say good morning, like that's the first thing that has happened that day. And
Yeah.
uh yeah, so that's kind of where that came from.
I mean, there's the lot to take away from that. One, I mean, just the algorithm of TikTok, something about walking and talking definitely, gets a big boost. So to
Mhm.
realize the art of social media and how to get your content out there is very difficult, and then find a gimmick to go with that. But also the verbal exercise. You talk about stuttering in your stand up all the time, and
Mhm.
like if you're listening to the stand up on stage, whether it's America's Got Talent or through your comedy specials, you would never think in a million years that you're someone that has suffered from a stuttering problem. It's
Mhm.
so intriguing and fascinating to me that something like a verbal exercise, like putting together rhyme schemes, it could be something that help you overcome a stutter. And then to
Mhm.
be able to memorize that. So, how quickly does it take you to memorize like a bit that we just heard?
Sometimes it can take like sometimes it can take like a day. Sometimes if it's like, you know, sometimes if it's from the heart, like that one,
Yeah.
it can
You
take
can see the
a few
passion.
minutes. We're just like, yeah, yeah. We're like, all right, one and done today. We're all
Right.
right. Let's wrap. Uh, so so yeah, it is something that, and like there was an interview a few years ago that came out about Steve Harvey. He was someone who had a stutter, and a lot of things that he did one of the things he did to practice was he would walk across the room while talking out loud. And I realized that as I've gotten older and more confident, a lot of my stand up, I end up walking around anyway, just because going through the motions of that exercise, and making sure that you can keep your rhythm, and especially if you're not trying to overthink the timing of a certain moment. Yeah, so I think like the combination of the rhythm and the cadence and the walking is all just beneficial for somebody like me, who has to deal with a lot of this shit.
Yeah, well, even walking around on stage, though, that's just good public speaking. You're keeping the audience's attention, and it's also helping you unbeknownst to them.
Yeah.
Is there a line that sticks out in your mind of like a rhyme scheme, of like a rhyme that you step back and you're still super proud of? You're like, actually, that was pretty sick, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, I think the foundation of stand up is actually pretty similar to the foundation of, I guess, like rap or slam poetry. Like,
I agree.
if I was really lucky in that one of the positives from my injury was when you're battling with stuttering, you're really taught to edit. You're editing all the time on the fly so as to not lose anybody's attention, especially if you're on stage. So it really teaches you the importance of word economy, and it teaches you that last sentence or the last word or the last two words of a sentence can really change the whole context of a sentence that you said beforehand. It can change the whole meaning of it. And with rap, or like they do the same, like you hear sometimes like where you think something is going one way, and then the very end of it is said and it changes the whole context of it. So that I think is really easy to make that sort of transition from doing one to the other if you have the foundation of the understanding of that level of writing.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree on that. We're talking with comedian Drew Lynch, who's performing at the Rialto Theatre on Thursday, March 28th. Tickets available at drewlynch.com. We're continuing the conversation on the podcast broadcast. Be back with more with Drew right after these words on Rock 1 2.1. Clear. Now, you mentioned the injury. What was the injury?
Sure. I had a softball injury when I was 20 years old. I got hit in the throat with a softball. I had fallen and hit my head on the ground, and I had a TBI from it. And it messed with my whole my motor skills, my speech, cognitive function. It was just a whole mess up of a thing. Like it messed with my whole plans that I had. Like I never wanted to do stand up. I never wanted to even, like, I always appreciated it, but I didn't see that as my trajectory. I moved out to Los
Right.
Angeles when I was really young. I moved out to
Mhm.
LA when I was 19 so I could pursue acting. And my first year of being there, I'd had a manager, an agent. I had some momentum with, like, I was on hold for like CBS and Disney TV shows. So, you
Wow.
know, when that happened, it couldn't have come at a worse time for me. And it I couldn't get hired anymore or anywhere as an actor, and no one would send me in because of the ramifications and the aftermath of why I wasn't able to control my speech. And
Mhm.
so then I still just felt like I didn't want to kind of roll over. I didn't want to just be now nothing. I definitely didn't want to be a disappointment to my friends or my family who had believed so much in supporting me and even moving out there in the first place. So I had some comics who they had kind of encouraged me to go on stage and just start talking about the injury. And I think that's kind of a cool thing. Like some people do comedy because they're extroverted in nature, or they just like being in the spotlight or whatever. But I think there's a lot of us who, we've got something messed up that happened, whether it was in our recent past or a long, long time ago, that of course we use humor to try and combat that. And
Absolutely.
that
For
was just kind
healing
of
and all that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was just kind of the perfect way for me to be able to talk about it, get comfortable with it, make self-deprecating jokes about it, and hopefully try to cope.
That is amazing, dude. And honestly, like what, like an inspiring story of like you had a goal to go out into Hollywood and to make it, right? And initially you're going in
Mm.
as acting, and honestly, I had no doubt you would have made it in that, and you could still now make it, but now through a different lane because then you get this setback, and it's a major setback, right? And you ended up teaching yourself a new skill, taking this tragedy, finding inspiration from it, and creating art, and getting to a point where you are a stellar stand-up comedian. To be on America's Got Talent, right? And to get a golden buzzer, or even just with that audience, and to compete, to get second place in where you're competing against like circus talent and singers. This is not a comedian show. It's a very difficult show to achieve success on. And to be able to do that and translate is mind-blowingly amazing. You just have it in you you set yourself a goal and you're going to achieve that goal, huh?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah, and it is very much that. I feel like I've always been self-motivated, but at the end of the day, it was really a no-brain decision. It was a no-brainer decision because like I just didn't want to be, it was just like all the other you're backed into a corner. You really have no other options. Your only other option is to try and just to try something, and when I did even America's Got Talent in 2015, I was super young. I was super young into comedy, but we're just really, really young in general. And that show was kind of the perfect platform because it teaches you, it allowed me to be able to showcase what I was there to do while also telling my story,
Yeah.
So that was such a blessing for being able to do that show. And you're absolutely right. That show is not built for comedians. We're kind of given like a minute of jokes, and you have to try and punch in a bunch of jokes in a short amount of time, and couple that with the fact that I already had a time constraint kind of built in. Like that was also such a stressor for me. And you're also going up against people who they're novelty acts, or they have their spectacle acts, and so they you could be a magician with a huge turn, and and the magician has like 9 minutes. That would always be something that was insane to me. It's like the magician's like, listen, I gotta make this girl go to France, and then she appears in a glass jar, and she's holding my chihuahua, and you're like, what the? And he's like, all right, I'm gonna need 30 minutes for that. It was always something like, and the trick's amazing, but it does absolutely need that amount of time. And then it would be like, all right, and then we've got Drew coming on, and hit us with a joke up top. Yeah, exactly.
Or like 30 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
Funny.
So,
special treatment.
So it's that, and it's just, all you have is your brain. That's it. You just have your brain, your experience and delivery. And there's a lot of other people who, if you're a singer, or if you're a dance troupe, or if you're a dog act or a magician, there's a setup in some way or another. And so it is really comparing, apples to wrenches in that.
Yeah. And so when you went into this competition and what you saw, essentially how it was structured, what you were going against, did you give yourself a shot in hell, or you're just like, well, here goes nothing?
Do I need to learn fire breathing?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. I definitely did not. I definitely did not think I was going to get as far as I had, or get all the way to the end. I mean, and by the way, I never at one point saw getting to the end until I was at the end, and then I was like, well, I would like to win it now. It was like the last week, and I was like, I think I want to win. Like before, I was just like, I think this would be cool to do this. This would be fun. Wow, they keep inviting me back. This is insane. And then it's like, it's like you run a marathon, and then you get to the, you start to see the finish line, and you're just like, all right, now I guess I'll try to win it, And so when I auditioned for the show, I remember it was the day after Valentine's Day. I was super hungover from like champagne the night before or something stupid. And I woke up like at like 5 a.m. or something, like something silly. I woke up at 5 a.m. to stand in line at like 5:30, and I was there standing in line for like 3 or 4 hours just as early. And then you have to go in with everybody else. And then once you audition, it's not for the judges. It's for producers, and then they pass you along to
geez.
another room where they ask you a bunch of questions, and then you fill out paperwork, and then they pass you along to another producer. Who's like the exec producer, and if you audition for her and that's approved, then she sends you to the room of like there's like 7 people on laptops and asking you questions, having you audition, and
It's like a
and
fighting
then those
game.
people
Next
send
level. Boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
100%,
We're
100%.
speaking
So
with
then
a
those people
comedian.
send you yeah.
Hold on one second. Sorry about that, Drew. We're speaking with comedian Drew Lynch on the process of America's Got Talent, and going through audition process with the champagne hangover, and basically the meat factory routine, and going one room to the next, to the next, to the next. Are you doing the same minute when you do that? Over and over, like. You want to hear the joke I just told your friend?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I
Jeez.
think one of the things that really helped was it was like a very loose minute and a half audition. I would kind of make a joke, and then I would comment on the joke and comment. I kind of talked a lot to the judges. I talked a lot about the room, a lot about the process. A lot of it was just kind of off the cuff in the moment type, type banter. And I think that's something that they really responded to. They kind of wanted the freedom of you being able to, like, they wanted to be able to know that they could confidently instill someone into the process if they were to put them in front of judges in that capacity. So
right, because banter's a large part of that show on America's Got Talent. Do you remember the minute that you went in to audition with that got you onto the show?
Oh man. I don't remember the exact minute, to be honest with you. I think I did like the GPS bit. I think I maybe did the drive-through bit, and maybe like the phone number bit, and that was it. And with that show, it's like you have to find material that is middle of the road enough that you're not going to isolate anybody, but is also still relatable in a way that people people care about it. People are endeared to it. So, for me, that was just I became a target for myself. It's just like, oh, this is something that I've been doing for a while anyway. It's just being self-deprecating with it. So.
Yeah. And from, getting second place on America's Got Talent, after the show was done, is it night and day as far as the response and the bookings? Are you just, your calendar fill up immediately, you start seeing crowds, or you still have to work at it to continue to build your fan base?
I think people started to come out and see me more, which was great. But as far as your online audience and sustaining your career after the fact, that really falls to the artist. I mean, the show does a great job about being like, here's an introduction, but it does become up to you afterwards. Like after I did the show, I think I had like 80,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I was already doing a show every week on YouTube just to try and like keep people updated. Like I was doing that well before I even auditioned for the show. So it was nice to have had a backlog going into the season and acquiring, a good amount of followers in that way. But, the other subscribers that I had to do, that I had to try and build from doing stuff online, that was way after the fact. So, yeah, that's pretty much the process I would say for most comics on that show.
Well, and that's what it is. I think the takeaway in the story of Drew Lynch is the dedication and the resilience to set a goal and to work hard at it. So after suffering an injury that and included what seemed at the time a debilitating stutter, he switched gears from trying to be an actor in LA to starting stand-up comedy. Within years, only a few years, he was on one of the biggest stages in America, making it all the way to second place in America's Got Talent, and has had a thriving stand-up comedy career since. Amassing millions of fans and followers along the way. It's just such an amazing story that you have. And I'm sure that acting is still kind of on the docket, right? You're still kind of being like, well, now that I'm starting to build up this brand, baby, initially I had a dream. Now, were you like in your mind, were you a dramatic actor or a comedic actor or a little bit of everything?
I was annoying. I was just like I'll do whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think I took myself too seriously, but I think every actor in some way does. So yeah, I just loved it. It's the perfect. I'm pretty introverted in nature, and I think like doing something like that is like a nice fun way to still be in a setting among other people, but you don't have to really uh talk as any way other than what's demanded of you. So that was what I was always drawn to as a kid. And as a
Yeah.
kid, like I grew up just I didn't have a lot of friends, so I grew up reading just like plays. And when I think about stand up now, I think about how much I write kind of in a similar way as how like somebody who's writing a script or a play would go about attacking a bit. So
Yeah.
there's just it's been really cool, like unforeseen things that that kind of fell into place as to why I'm able to I do what I do. And I 100% think that acting is still in the queue for things on the future.
Oh, 100%. And it's so funny too, because you're going to show up like, yeah, I mean, I might as well get into acting. While I'm here, I might as well go for the EGOT, right? You can see that happening.
Tony sounds nice.
Right. This is my friend Rico. Rico, you got a question for Drew before we let him go?
Oh God, when's the rap album coming out?
Yeah.
No, I think just a comment. I mean, honestly, with all the accomplishments you've had, I think one of the most beautiful things to see is a very authentic fan base too. Noticing on your TikTok, it's like they're all very avid, beautifully authentic followers. And that's something you don't see that much these days. So I'm like, that has to be something to be grateful for too.
Yeah, I pay for my followers.
Same.
Yeah.
Dude, I pay for your followers too, man. It's getting exhausting.
I appreciate it though.
I talk to Wells Fargo every week, and they're like, "You gotta keep doing this." I'm like, "I have to, man. I support him.
Yeah.
He's out there doing it."
Tax repercussions.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, it's your birthday though, right, Rico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, buddy. Yeah,
Woo!
happy birthday.
Thank you.
It's so nice of
Birthday
you to hear.
present.
That's a
Yeah.
good present.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, it's kind of cool. I think like especially if you can create a concept like you guys have with this show. I think one of the things that's so special about any type of thing that you're doing where you bring people together. I know that sounds kitschy and lame or whatever, but I mean like when you have people who look forward to it and are responding to each other, not just to you, but to responding to each other in it. That's how you've kind of like bred some sense of community for what you're doing. That's how you're maybe there's evidence to support the idea that you're making a difference in some way.
Oh, absolutely. Ratings and things like that, for sure. I feel that. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us. I know you're busy on the road, but we're definitely looking forward to your show at the Rialto Theatre on Thursday, March 28th. It's a beautiful historic theater. I don't know if you've been there before, but that's a good room to do comedy too, because good amount of people, but great acoustics because it's also a music venue. So I think you're going to enjoy just even being out in Tucson, and we're definitely going to be enjoying seeing you live in action. You guys can join us at the Rialto Theater on March 28th. Get your tickets today, drewlynch.com or rialtotheater.com. It's as simple as that. Any other mentions you want to throw out there to our audience while we got you, Drew?
Yeah, actually, I have a podcast myself. It's called Did I Stutter? I do it every week. I talk about the video. I talk about like the city I just visited. I complain about my wife, and then I give out bad advice. It's silly.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and honestly, your complaints and rants about your wife is amazing. I've been in, doing like morning radio. It's obviously problematic sometimes that my relationship will hear me kind of exaggerate or go on like a comedic rant. Do you ever get flack from your wife on some of your material, which is hilarious, but you talk about her ADHD and, made her essentially like part of your brand?
Yeah, well, I think first two things. I think one, a lot of people know like her pretty well, or they know, like she and I are very active together on social media, and so people know where she stands with it. And then two, I always end up making fun of myself just as much as I end up making fun of her, making light of her, and I just always want to make sure that it's never coming from a place of, intention is always has to be clear, and it never has the appearance of it being like, oh, this is malicious. It's always, frustrated, not angry.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. Well, again, Drew Lynch, everybody. DrewLynch.com to get those tickets for the Rialto Theater so you can see him live. You can follow him online on TikTok, on Instagram, on everywhere, actually. Hilarious content constantly being pushed out, and his weekly podcast. So make sure you follow him. We put all the links in the podcast broadcast stream so you can be able to follow him simply just by clicking on that. We're going to hit the reset. Be back with more with Beef Vegan Presents right after this. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Again, thank you so much, Drew. I appreciate you taking so much time to hang out with us, and look forward to seeing you when you get down to Tucson.
absolutely, guys. Thanks so much for having me. Happy birthday again, buddy.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew. All right, for everyone else here on the stream, earlier this morning, we talked about Miami canceling spring break. In case you missed it, went a little something like this. Rolled, but this is the time of year that is like party central for the young people of America. College students, high school students alike, all going to different destinations to rage it up for spring break. Actually, I know in Rocky Point, I have a couple DJ friends that have been set up shop, and they're ready for the slew of college students from ASU and U of A to come down to Rocky Point and just destroy the place.
Batten down the hatches.
Right. And if you recall, last year, spring break made a lot of headlines for a negative reason. And the thing is, this is a post-COVID era, generation of kids going out and raging. And they had a few years in their prime that they did not get to rage. And so that pent up aggression and lack of ability to get blackout and hook up with strangers led to like a tsunami of chaos in Miami and other places in Florida, right? You remember all these stories?
I'm even seeing right now in 2021, Miami Beach made more than 1,000 arrests among spring breakers, leading them to issue an emergency curfew. In 2022, 2 shootings injured 5 people, leading to another curfew. Last year, Miami Beach Police Department said it conducted 488 arrests, impounded 105 firearms, and issued 7,190 traffic citations.
Yeah, dude, wildin'.
Yep.
And spring break was never like that before COVID. They've definitely had some crazy years, and some people did some stupid things, but it seems like it's at an extreme level. And usually places like Rocky Point, Miami, anywhere along the coast, they look forward to this time of year because that's an influx of cash. It's great for business and the economy. All these, spring breakers come down. It's almost like they're age old right. Nah, that's not a saying, but like a rite of passage of sorts, right? And when you're at that age, you get the, you're working hard and trying to get an education, and before you kind of settle down and mature, you get to be wild and have a lot of fun, be a kid. And that's usually the case, and all these cities are stoked about it. But Miami's not having it. The past couple of years, it's been so chaotic. They're like, you know what? F this. We don't even want you coming to Miami. And that's rough, dude.
You know what I think the breaking point was?
What was that?
The GTA trailer.
Yeah, right?
Well, we can't have this.
We can't have this. We're giving them too much free content. Really. Well, it looks like Miami just released a PSA.
Uh-huh.
And you saw this PSA?
This morning, yeah, I saw. I was kind of laughing.
Yeah.
It's cheeky, it's cheesy, and it's not going to work.
Well,
in my opinion, we'll see.
It is clever. It's titled, and you can find this on YouTube if you'd like to see this PSA yourself. It's called Miami Beach is Breaking Up with Spring Break. Let's take a listen, shall we?
Hey, we need to talk.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you. We just want different things.
Our idea of a good time is relaxing on the beach.
Hitting up the spa or checking out a new restaurant.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws.
Do you even remember what happened last March?
Oh, man.
That was our breaking point. So we're breaking up with you.
And don't try to apologize and come crawling back. This isn't safe. So we're done.
And just so you know, we're serious.
This March, you can expect things like curfews, bag checks, and restricted beach access.
DUI checkpoints, $100 parking, and strong police enforcement for drug possession and violence.
Damn.
Whatever it takes, because it's time to move on.
Maybe we can talk when you're done with your spring break phase, but until then.
We're breaking up.
Boo.
Yeah, dude.
No fun.
Yeah, as much as this seems like a joke to you guys, right? This is legitimately put out by Miami Beach, Florida. .gov basically /breakup. You'll be able to see an entire tab and a write-up how they are encouraging young students and Americans to not come to Miami Beach during spring break. And
hey, I just want to have a mimosa and have spa day, not get punched in the mouth by brass knuckles.
Yeah,
and have grandma twerked on.
Right. What they described as spring break, like what we consider fun. I'm like, you consider that's 50-year-old fun, by the way. You know, going to a beach and reading a book and taking a nap and then going to a spa is not 21-year-old fun. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, yes.
I try it, but it'll last an hour.
When did Miami get so square? You know?
Yeah.
It takes just a couple riots, and then next thing you know, then there are nerds on the beach. It was a city built on cocaine use, by the way.
Oh, I've seen all the documentaries.
Mm-hmm. All right, but yeah, so if you're planning on going spring break, I would focus on Rocky Point. I know they need the money down there, and they're encouraging all types of debauchery, but Miami, Florida does not want you. And as your PSA of the day, let's hit the reset. We got music on the way from Rage Against the Machine and Rock 1-2. All right, another good conversation here that we had with Drew Lynch. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's we always get 10 minutes with these guys, and we always go to about 35 at least. Loading up the podcast broadcast with special guests this week. Tomorrow morning, actually, we're gonna have comedian Craig Gass in studio. Gass just reached out to me yesterday. And was asking about Wednesday. So he's going to be joining from 8 to 10. He doesn't realize he's going to be on for 2 hours, but he is. On Thursday, I'm going to be speaking with my buddy Ryan from Mother. You know, it's a band that I love that I talk about all the time, which is super awesome. So we're going to be talking about his new album, and they're touring Europe. And I think touring with Upsall, too. I'm going to point out the connection that they have that maybe he recognized or not, right? Point that out.
What is that, degrees of beef vegan?
Yeah.
That all musicians have?
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Nice.
Yeah, that all musicians have. Not all of them, but
there's 5 degrees max.
The cool ones definitely have like a relation that they don't know. And then I just confirmed TJ Miller. You guys know TJ Miller from Deadpool and Silicon Valley. He'll be joining the podcast broadcast on what's my calendar? Not this week. But it will be on March 14th. So next Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked to be catching up with TJ Miller again. I talked to him in the past. He's always a fun conversation. And it'll be interesting to get TJ's, perspective of what's been going on for the past few years, because obviously, it's been a roller coaster ride of a career. But dude is naturally funny. He really is.
Mm.
And I am definitely a TJ Miller fan and supporter of him rising back up to where he needs to be.
I haven't even watched Silicon Valley, and that guy's already the best part of it, just from the clips I've seen.
Dude, you have to watch because it does jump the shark. And TJ, again, he's his own worst enemy when it comes to his career. And I think he was just kind of over it before the season wrapped, and he just kind of stepped away. And then they wrote him off at the very end. So he did somewhat come back for the season finale. Or actually, he didn't even come back for the season finale, but the way they wrote him off was basically his character went to Budapest and became addicted to opioids while being a monk, right? And they're like, oh, that's what his character would do, right? And that's the way Mike Judge was like, all right, this is how you're written off the show. And, I
think that should be the condition. If you're written off a show, it has to be in a very creative, awesome way.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah,
you are 2 degrees from being vegan. Right? Yeah, it's good. And then Rico even gets a birthday shout out from Drew.
Yeah. I like it because everything's like my birthday right now. You have Facebook and Instagram being hacked.
Yeah.
Nobody can access that, so I can't even get my birthday wishes.
Well,
then it's Super Tuesday, so all the voting's superseding my birthday.
Yeah, Eric.
Then I get a shout out.
Eric,
thank you, guys.
Trash guy on Facebook was able to say happy birthday, Rico. So maybe it's up.
Made his way through
and running. So it is interesting though. On Facebook and Instagram do appear to be down, but all of our YouTube beefers have been joining us. Oh, sorry, got a hiccup. I just blessed myself.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Or I just sneezed before we got back on the air, and I said bless you to Rico.
He beat me to the bless you.
Yeah, I usually bless myself.
You bless yourself.
Yeah, but instead I blessed Rico, and he didn't even sneeze. I sneezed, and I said bless you to you.
It's like when I say something outlandish in public, and I go, "What did you just say?"
Yeah.
out loud before anybody else has the chance.
Well, that's good. I'm sure you say out something outlandish all the time.
Did you just say that?
Now, what are you doing for your birthday? Are you doing anything?
I don't know, man. Might go to Disneyland. I might go to Raiders Reef.
Yeah, I was thinking strip club.
Yeah. We got good shrimp deals going on.
Do you need someone? I mean, it is kind of sad to go to a strip club by yourself on your birthday, but at the same time, if you're looking to bring home a stripper, it's sometimes easier to do it by yourself, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be kind of sad, but funny, though, to get like the sympathy points from strippers by yourself.
You probably get a free lap dance.
Probably.
Yeah, you
Or
show the ID. It's my birthday. It's my
Can
birthday.
you put a little crown on me and sing me the birthday song? Please. I don't want a lap dance. I just want y'all to come out here and sing like you hate it.
Yeah, and they do.
Yeah,
They do.
Oh,
Yeah, but
on a routine.
Yeah, so there we go. Good morning, Clarissa, and thanks for the birthday shout out to Rico.
With the emoji. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It takes work to find those emojis. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, Jeff says there are better places, though, but not one that's closer to you.
That's right. East side, baby.
Yeah, I'm close to all the strip clubs, actually. There's Loves, there's Curves, there's all that, all in Speedway.
We got to get one to sponsor us. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know. And the fact is, you have shitty salespeople, and they're not watching, so I could say it again and again. But if I did have any kind of semi-confident, competent salespeople, because I do know that there are strip clubs that do advertise on the station late at night. I'm like, dude, we could literally have dancers come into the studio and do sponsored segments, and we could see them and be able to post clips like, look, this is our hardcore, right? This is our family that's watching. And then everyone that's watching the replay is part of our family as well. But are you talking about like an easy boost for live numbers is saying, hey, we got some strippers in the studio. Then all the pervs that secretly lurk that aren't watching the podcast would join in, and they see exactly the setup that we have. And, might understand the type of fun that we have on a regular basis here.
Or even like go there and like film a segment, like a weekly or monthly one where it's like they give lessons or like history lessons.
Right.
Or philosophy.
And Lisa said, just remember, that's somebody's mama. I would do it respectfully. And not all strippers have kids, Lisa. So
yeah, wait a minute. Hey.
That's a bad assumption too.
Somebody's daughter. How about that?
It is safe to say that at Raiders Reef, they're probably all mothers to a certain extent, but still.
It's a good 80-20 ratio.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, but I'm sure there'd be fun ways. Like I've done in the past, I've done a stripper spelling bee, which is always fun. So spelling bees, I'm a big fan of in general. I don't know.
They're always
why.
riveting.
They are,
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like the official, like legal spelling bees are not legal, but where it's always like the smart Indian kid that wins.
I know.
Yeah, I watch those religiously every year. When ESPN airs them, I watch it more than I watch baseball.
Tension.
Yeah, but the strippers to do the spelling bee is always funny. And then if you make a strip spelling bee on top of it, woo, babooski.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. And technically I'm single, so now
we should set it up where we actually
the only time I could do it.
People doing donations on the stream, and we actually get real dollar bills to represent it to throw.
Yeah.
Monopoly money.
Digital dollar bills.
Yeah.
Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. That was 3 days. Yeah. Well, we did a lot of talking today, so I think I'm verbally out.
Out of words.
3 days grace, animal I have become. Can I tell you about a serial killing vampire?
Yes.
Okay. Authorities in Brazil have just caught the serial killing vampire. I had no clue that this was happening, but it was since December. It's very gruesome.
What?
Yes. Yeah. There's a suspected serial killer in Brazil. They dubbed the vampire of Guyana, right? Guyana, whatever. I know I'm saying this wrong, right? But they stand accused of murdering 3 people by draining their blood and wrapping them in bedding between December of last year and February of this year. Now, the victims all appeared to have been homeless, and they were allegedly lured into secluded areas by the alleged murderer and the suspect, who hasn't been publicly named yet, but I'm very intrigued to see what the vampire looks like. Right?
I very much am.
Right. Well, they say that the vampire did confess to one of the crimes, admitting to transporting the victims in a recycling cart and leaving their bodies in a forested area.
How many crimes? 1 crime. Not 2.
3 total, actually.
3.
So if you want to get to 3, go for it. It's your birthday.
3 crimes.
You skipped 2, but that's okay. Nobody's counting.
All right.
All right. Police found a kill list of 5 people he intended to target after his arrest. So this vampire serial killer was not done, but luckily for the citizens of Brazil, their vampire serial killer, which is terrifying on paper, is caught. Authorities describe him as a dangerous person who preyed on vulnerable victims for pleasure. Oh, that's what the serial killers do, right? Yeah. Brutal, though. The vampire
Have
of
we
Brazil.
not heard about this?
I know,
It's like
dude.
one of those things.
I have a
I would have been
Google.
invested.
Well, I don't have a Google alert set up for this, but I feel like a weirdo would have a Google alert for both
Serial killer vampires.
and serial killers. First off, all chicks love serial killers.
Uh-huh.
They don't want to be killed by one, but they find them fascinating in a very exotic way.
They want to be targeted, not actually pursued.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's a weird fetish.
Right.
It really is, but every single female has one with serial killers.
Facts.
And vampires, like all of our goth friends, Avery, weirdo, hell,
Mhm.
even Mario would probably mess around with a vampire serial killer. So, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't come to me with this information
For
in
real.
December when this happened.
Disappointed.
Yeah. Well, the good news is this vampire is off the streets of Brazil. And I would say that Brazil's safe again, but it is Brazil. So there are other things you have to be terrified about.
Go back to normal worries now.
Yeah. All right. We're going to keep the conversation moving on to podcast broadcast there. We're going to replay Rico's 5-star review in case you missed it and be back with your beef tip after these words. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. I turned off my mics like a dummy.
A vampire knows jujitsu.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I do want to share this. Rico had one of his best 5-star reviews this morning. In case you don't believe me, it went a little something like this. Check it out. Wage War. We're Circle the Drain and Rock 102.1 KFMA. We got so much to go here on this show. We're going to be speaking with comedian Drew Lynch here at 9 a.m. on the podcast broadcast before his upcoming performance at the Rialto Theatre. You may recognize him from not only, going viral on TikTok several times over, but also being a contestant on America's Got Talent and getting second place. Drew is a hilarious comedian who exploded, and we look forward to talking with him. We also have a pair of tickets to give away for Hailstorm and I Prevail, so we'll be giving those away here shortly. But it is a pleasure to get into this next segment because my good friend Rico is always out and about going to different local businesses, and when he has a pleasurable experience, he immediately rushes to Google to leave a review.
Right away.
Yeah, where did you go to recently, Rico?
Went to a little place called Superior Pull Products.
Oh, do tell. You got a review?
I do.
Share it with us, please.
Like everyone else, I find myself loving the freedom and horrible necessity of the gig economy. Sometimes you need to think outside of the box and find something that suits your personality and talents.
Yep.
I could do Uber Eats or DoorDash. I could dog walk or sell knockoff Ozempic on Facebook Marketplace, but I'm trying to expand my own horizons. As a self-proclaimed semi to non-motivated entrepreneur, it keeps me on my toes and my eyes peeled for opportunities. That made no sense. With the hotter temperature soon arriving, I thought to myself, you know what this means? Swimming pool season.
Hell yeah, it is.
And any good businessman will tell you it's about giving people what they think they need, but actually just want. I was about to dive into the side hustle of the almighty pool boy. And where better to learn the ropes and acquire potential clients than a pool supply store?
Yeah.
Superior Pool Products is part of a distribution network that leads the pack as the world's largest wholesale distributor of swimming pool supplies, equipment, construction materials, and related leisure products.
Man, that's a brilliant idea, by the way, for a side hustle.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Now, I wasn't going to be building pools. I was going to be building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So when I walked through the doors, I waited in line for a few minutes before the man at the counter politely asked how he could help. I said, well, I'm here to leverage this chubby, buff Greek god body to make some money in the pooling industry. Excuse me? Sorry, let me elaborate. I'm starting my own pool boy business. As you can see, I'm not a boy, but a man who has paid his dues, and I'm ready to carve out my own piece of paradise, capiche? Okay, well, I've yet to hear that one, so what can we do for you? Well, I was hoping you guys could give me some ideas. Now, you see, I already have short shorts, flip-flops, and coconut oil to grease myself up with.
Nice.
But I could really use some advice on what I would need to look like I'm cleaning a pool, but in actuality just want to make money off lonely housewives while their husbands are out climbing the corporate ladders for the most part.
I knew it.
I honestly don't know how to answer that, he says. Look, I'll make it easy for you. I just think I need one of those long pulse skimmer things. You got one of those, right? Yeah, you bet we do. Okay, good. Well, I'll take one of those, and I think I could use from you, Mark, is some leads. Leads? Yeah, like a list of 10 or 20 contacts that fit the bill. I only assume you have some Oro Valley or Catalina types coming up here looking to outpool the rich neighbors, right? There's bound to be a plethora of old money and old lonely housewives just waiting for a pool boy to make their day. You skimming what I'm throwing in the pool here, Mark? Sir, I believe that's not only immoral, but that's illegal. Now, I knew Mark would be a tough nut to crack, but I've been watching some clips of Shark Tank and also watching corrupt politicians with price tags all of my life. Everyone has a price. Mine is $55, but that's neither here nor there.
Nope.
Okay, Mark, how about this? 50-50 split on the upfront appointments and then a 30% cut of the extracurricular quote-unquote activities that happen on site. It's a very generous offer, Marky Mark. I stood there very proud of my scumbag negotiating tactics. The art of the deal on Audible was a great investment. Sir, I think I need you to ask, please. I think I need to ask you to leave, please.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we got off on the wrong foot, Marky. 40% cut on the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. Get out now, he says. You just took a big old poopy in the pool on this one, Mark, and you're all out of chlorine. Here's my number in case you want to swim in the big leagues. He tore up the piece of paper I gave him and signaled for the next person. So I stood near the entrance pretending to be in my phone, and a lady who looked to be in her 60s walked in, and I immediately took off my shirt and asked her how she was doing. But then Mark started walking out from behind the counter, so I ran back to my truck. Very professional, upstanding staff with a great selection of supplies to build a dream pool with. It's too bad I gotta just use Craigslist now. 5 stars.
That's an actual 5-star review that's left on, what was the name of the company again?
Superior Pool Products.
So make sure you Google them to check out that review. If you see Rico's review, give them 5-star. And any leads on desperate housewives who may need their pool cleaned. And, kudos to Mark for keeping it professional.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, kicking Rico out and probably banning him from that pool supply store, unfortunately. But don't worry, he doesn't know what I look like, so I can go in there for you, Rico.
Yeah, so now we're talking.
Business will be booming.
Give you a cut.
Yeah, so that's Rico's 5-star review. Let's hit the Reese. That's funny. So Lisa's paying $200 a month. You are selling yourself short, dude.
Yeah, but she's actually having legitimate technicians work on it. I'm just going to be the guy standing there with a stick.
Yeah, but you're giving bonus banging. So, you got to put more value to that. Sure, the pool might not at least be spotless. I mean, it might even grow algae quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you'll have some fun on the side. So, yeah, it's something to think about.
I'll send the PDF out.
Yeah, Jeff was a pool technician. That was the name. That's what they call him when you don't bang the housewife.
Technician.
Now, let me share this. This is so funny and bad. Here's the context. The comment is her parents need their asses whooped. Okay, this was a national anthem gone horribly wrong. You want to hear it?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walk.
Oh no!
So gallantly street.
And look at him, he's trying not to laugh. Look at him. No.
The woos. Oh, God. It's worse than drunk karaoke.
Yes. Let's get into it. It's not anymore. No.
Oh, no. Oh, poor girl. Gonna haunt her.
There you go. High pitch.
She got the high pitch there.
Oof. Oh no. That was the terrible national anthem that went viral Poor little girl.
I
And
feel
actually,
so bad, but at the same time, I'm like, I didn't really want to hear deaf Christina Aguilera.
I know that's her parents' fault,
Oh.
dude. For putting her on that platform, dressing her up all patriotic. We're back on Rock 102.1, by the way. And that was our last viral video that we're going to share on the podcast broadcast before we wrap up the show. And don't forget, you can subscribe to youtube.com/beefvegan. There you can catch all of our podcasts on demand, and our comedic guest, Drew Lynch. Of course, our entire conversation with him, both on air and off, was a fantastic conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We're keeping comedians coming in tomorrow morning. Craig Gass, comedian that's going to be performing at Laughworks, I believe, or one of the theaters. We'll get more information on Gass when he gets in here. He'll be joining us tomorrow from 8 to 10. Before we leave you, I'd like to wrap things up with the beef tip on Rico's birthday. Yeah, it's to keep your testosterone flowing, right? Because you're like, it's your birthday, you're 38. Like every year after you're 30, you lose 1% testosterone.
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's what they say.
Mhm.
And now I feel like you do all this stuff, so you might have the most testosterone that I know of any man.
Oh,
all right. And this will help your libido be as, monstrous as it is and continue that way. Right. So do push-ups and squats. They say resistance exercises like these can naturally counteract declining testosterone levels, which again drop an average of 1% a year starting in a man's 30s. So you're 8% down, technically, Rico.
Damn.
All right. They say dig into sardines. A recent study found that 26.7% of men with a lack of desire for sex have a vitamin B12 deficiency. So eating sardines with that vitamin will help, which is weird.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to get any sex if you have sardine breath. But, talking about breath, good oral hygiene, they say try flossing. It's not just support for your mouth. There's also a link between gum disease and erectile dysfunction. So if you're having a problem getting a bone, it may be because your gums are rotting.
It sounds like floss company conspiracy. Like, I don't get guys to floss more.
Possibly. Yeah. But don't forget to do those push-ups and squats. Happy birthday, Rico.
Thank
you guys for listening to the show. We'll be back tomorrow live. Don't forget that keyword with Robin Nash coming up at 11:15 this morning. So keep it right here. Until then, drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
Eat more sardines.
Brought to you by Big Sardines.
Big Sardine.
Thanks, fella. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you guys for watching. As always, throw out those birthday shout outs in the comments below. Peanut butter cup. Babuski.